I mean, in what ways under the law, purview of the law, in the way that you would want to see laws of the land structured, would you say that men and women should not be equal?
Think like God's rules for men: to be strong, protect, provide.
Yeah, providers and protectors.
Be called into war. Yeah. Women are nurturing their children, tending their home, creating a beautiful nuclear family dynamic, that kind of thing.
So, like, for instance, let me ask you this. We'll test this real quick and just find out. Do you think that there should be female politicians?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Why not?
You don't,
because
right?
because it creates a conundrum from the Christian worldview.
Okay.
This is why I
You
don't
believe that
in
you should
religion.
submit to your husband, right?
Absolutely.
But
so what
it says
happens?
actually they should submit to each other. To each
Is
other.
there anything else that I can help you with?
I think
Or can I finish my
he's
conversation?
asking Kendall because
So, but I wouldn't want to tell him, police. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Are you sure?
Sure.
Is it okay? Are you going to be okay? Okay, so anyway, if you submit to your husband, right, and you're a politician, and your husband goes to you and says, I want you to vote this way. Are you going to vote that way?
No.
Oh, well, that's not submission then.
Yeah, because I don't think you should submit to your husband.
I believe she should hear him out
I
on
think a
why.
husband and a wife should be equal.
You would
and they
say
should
you would
work
hear
with
him
each
out,
other.
right?
Oh, I would
I know.
absolutely
Wait,
hear
question
him.
for you.
Exactly.
Who should pay on the
I feel
first
like
date?
you kind of backed me.
Hold on. Who should pay on the first date?
man.
Well, you just said men and women should be equal, so how do you reconcile that statement?
Don't you believe in traditional values?
Yeah, but it's
What?
your
Well, there's a
asking you the
different.
question.
Okay, you know what? I'll change my
You don't-
answer.
you-
Actually,
you're a
I'll change my
feminist.
answer.
You're a
I'll change
feminist.
my answer.
You're a feminist.
I'll change
How
my
can
answer.
you say-
Listen, I'm changing my answer. If the woman asks the man out first, she
They
should
don't.
pay.
Women
Yeah,
overwhelmingly
that's why men should
don't.
pay.
Women, I
Yeah,
know
but
some-
it's this very almost
Okay,
like
it's probably-
willfully
men definitely
naive
do more,
position.
for sure.
Guys, one at a time, please. It's a very willfully naive position to take that, well, whoever asks should pay. Well, overwhelmingly, men are the initiators.
Okay.
So your answer may, like, de facto, men are going to be the ones who are asking. So your answer might as well be men should pay.
Okay, but what
unless
does that
you,
have to do,
unless you're,
what does that have to do with my belief that men and like a wife and a
You
husband
need to
should
tilt
be
your
equal?
mic down.
Sorry. What does that have to do with my belief that a husband and a wife should be equal in a marriage?
well, how do you arrive at a marriage? Through the courtship process, right?
Correct.
Which is unequal if your
In the beginning,
position.
I do think that the man should pursue.
Why?
Why? I don't
Why?
because I just think he should.
Well, initially, and you seem to want to walk it back. Initially, you said, "Well, don't you believe in traditional gender roles?" But you're a feminist. How do you reconcile your desire
I don't think they
for equality?
Totally.
It does contradict.
No, traditional values and feminism don't.
It
completely
100%
contradict.
Okay,
contradicts.
well, let's see if they don't. Let's just find out.
Like for example,
Wait, let me ask one question.
Sure.
So you do want the guy to pay for the first date, correct?
if he asks me out.
Sure.
yeah.
Let's say he does. Do you want to get married one day?
Yes.
Okay. Will you take your husband's last name?
Yes.
Go ahead, Andrew.
you are not a feminist.
Why am I not a feminist?
Because you don't
Well,
want to be a
there's-
feminist. I think you
Go ahead,
want
go
to
ahead.
align with
Go ahead.
feminism, but I
When you
think
say-
secretly
when
deep down
you-
what you want is you
I-
want a man to court you, to take you to dinner, to treat you nice, to ask you to marry him, and to create a family. That's what you're saying. Kind of, right?
I mean, I think it should go both ways, but in the beginning, the man should do the courting, and then the woman should also be.
Well, that's a
giving it
gender.
back.
Isn't that a gender expectation?
Yeah, I do think that there are gender roles in society. I don't
So what
necessarily
would
think that
be-
means that men and women are not
What
equal.
What would your expectations be in a relationship where you're both a feminist but also desirous of a traditional relationship?
He asks me out, takes me on a first date, and then after that, everything's normal. That's it. We just interact normally. We like each other. We
You'll
What is
pay. You'll
normal?
go.
I'll split
You'll
on
go
the date.
50-50.
What's
Yeah,
normal?
the first date
You'll,
he should
you'll
pay.
go 50-50
After that,
from
you
there
want
on
to
out.
pay 50-50.
Will
I
you
really
insist? Will you insist that it's 50-50 from there on out, or if the guy continues to be like, no, I want to
I
pay,
would probably
you'll
say
just
something.
allow.
No, I'd probably say something at
Okay.
some point.
So why this arbitrary? You want one singular date for
Not
the guy
even
to pay?
just because, like, I do think that the guy should be the one pursuing
Why?
it in the beginning.
Why?
Because I do believe in traditional values. That's like to a certain extent, just
So you
not
w-
to a
so-
point where.
Okay. So you want.
I like the ones I like.
So for you, equality is a buffet. You want to pick and choose that which benefits you and disregard that which doesn't. So you want tradition
I guess
for the
that's a
man.
fair thing to
you want
say.
you want tradition for
So-
the man in these scenarios.
So then you're saying that women should be pursuing first? That's your.
No, he's
Like
just
women
saying
should
that
ask
if
the
it's
man out on the
if it
date?
is your expectation, then it brings up the fact that there's kind of an ingrained hypocrisy there, right?
But there isn't, right? Why can't a man pursue and then still
Why
treat
are
the
you a
woman as
feminist?
equal? Because I believe that women and men are equal. I do think that women should be able
Are
to
you
vote.
talking
I
about
do
just
think
in
that-
marriage?
Everything. I think that women
Everything?
should be able to vote. I think women should be able to drive.
You think women should have to be
Women have been able
drafted?
to vote for a long time.
That's a great question.
Should women be drafted? I don't know. I'll have to think about
I think
that.
What do you mean you have to think
Well,
about
if
it?
you
Equal.
want-
I don't know.
I thought they were equal.
Wait, you did
I guess
say
you're right. Yeah.
you did say that
they should be drafted.
you want them.
You want them
equal.
drafted? So if you were drafted tomorrow, would you go?
I'd probably leave the country.
Yeah, you wouldn't go. So much for that equality.
Can you stop playing
Sorry.
with that, please?
So much for that equality. You would flee. You would draft dodge.
Well,
yeah?
I mean, men could also leave the country.
Yeah, I get it, but from the equality standpoint, it's just kind of interesting that, well, wait a second. I guess in order to be
I personally
consistent,
don't wanna
I would
fight
have
any
to say
wars.
yes. I would have to get drafted, but if you did draft
You're
me, I'm
asking-
getting the fuck out of
You're
here.
asking me about personal questions. I personally would not want to draft in a war. I'd
Mm-hmm.
leave. But do I think that if men get drafted, women should be too? Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah, but if you actually believe that, then you would have to accept the fact that if you get drafted, you gonna go.
Okay, that's fair. I'd probably
Why?
try to leave the country, and I'm sure a lot of other guys will too.
Actually,
and that's
really
fine.
quick on the military.
Most guys
thing.
don't.
Really quick on the military
most-
thing
some do.
is
They provide.
this is actually what happens even for the volunteer force of women. If they're about to be deployed to a conflict zone, conflict area,
They get pregnant a lot.
frequently they tend to get pregnant, which would preclude them from having to be deployed. So even if you do get drafted, or even if you're a
Bad thing.
volunteer, a lot of these women tend to, I'll just get knocked up. I'll just get pregnant so I can avoid.
having to get to.
And also, typically they get assigned different, like not frontline combat positions, anyways. So even if they do get deployed, they're typically much more safer than their male counterparts in the military.